Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Enigmatica 2 Expert. So great news, right now, I'm in the house. We have internet now. We got internet today, which is awesome, and everything seems to be good, and we're kind of starting to get settled. We still have a ton of boxes to go through. My office is semi-decently set up. And I'm really happy with it because it matches me. I guess is how I would say it. It doesn't really fit. My office isn't going to fit the decor of the rest of the house. That's not intended at all. So this is kind of like just my man cave sort of place, right? And I'm definitely happy with it so far. Definitely happy with it. But anyways, we've got internet here. Everything seems to be great. And things are looking up. We can actually start recording again, which is awesome. It'll still be a little while before the schedule gets all back on track. And it'll be a little while before I start streaming because I'm still spending the majority of the day doing boxes. And, like today I mounted the TV and, of course, they came out and did the internet. So I was, that took a little while because I had to put in basically where I wanted the cable and everything. And because of course I connect up my my PC to landline. Wi-Fi doesn't really, it's not the best thing. Wi-Fi is nice and it's convenient, but it's not the best thing. So anyways, just a heads up on that. And since last episode I have done a little bit of work. Of course I've been moving a lot, so it's not as much as it used to be, but hopefully it'll be back on track now. I did spend a bit of time farming mobs, farming skeletons, right? And look what I got. Flux-infused helm, flux-infused boots, flux-infused chestplate. I also got a bunch of nano armor and I think it was 2 sets of boots, I believe it was. But we do have all the pieces. I haven't upgraded them to quantum because they're expensive on those circuits, I think being the main thing. And honestly, that all ties into just rubber more than anything. Because I don't have a rubber supply. And that is something that we're going to be fixing today. I was debating on what I wanted to do this episode, if I wanted to get back into Ice and Fire, start doing dragon breeding and other creatures, taming those, because that's really what we have left for Ice and Fire, aside from just a lot of building work that needs to be done up there. Or if I wanted to start into the IC2 stuff, get into reactors, exciting stuff, or get our rubber automation set up. And I decided on rubber automation because I don't really want to proceed too much with IC2 until I can have rubber at hand all the time. Down here, you'll notice I did spend a bit of time working down here. This is where a lot of my time went. Starting to build out this section. So, it's not totally done, but I'm starting to have a bit of a ceiling. And you can see it's actually greatwood leaves with teak wood from forestry. And I actually quite like it. I mean, it's not entirely done yet, but it's starting to come together with kind of how I envisioned this area. And then I've started working over here a little bit. And look at this. This kind of comes down. This will all make sense soon. And this, because, there's no actual path into this. This is actually going to be for water. And not normal water. I'm going to use spring water, I think, for this. But anyways, and then I've built these little, what's going to be eventually some small bridges that cross over here. You'll be able to look down and see the water and look down even deeper to what lies beneath. So, and then if we pop over upstairs, I did spend a little bit of time working up here, and okay, I spent a while the other night trying to kill off the Pam's Harvestcraft crops because I have a ton of those, like the gardens, and I'm trying to purge them, but I keep missing one and they keep coming back, which has been a little bit of an issue. But over here, actually, I can't for the life of me. Actually, I don't think I ever connected this over tonight. Upstairs, I connected one. If we come up here, you can see I started digging this out, kind of getting an idea of where we were at. And this is actually where I started destroying gardens, and they've come back already, which is terrible. But I did start digging this out and built a little land bridge, basically. It doesn't actually connect up just yet. But we do have a little bit of a land bridge. It's not going to stay dirt. But this is basically for planting. You can see I'm making tons of food. We're up to pink hearts now, which is actually further than we were before. So 4 out of 10 pink hearts, and I think after that it was white hearts after that. So Definitely a lot of health. I don't even know how much health we actually have at the moment. But I think it's like 54 or 64 or something. It's ridiculous. Or hearts, I mean, not health. So anyways, that's most of what I've been working on. Because this is going to be, we're going to have bridges and ladders and things that connect up the side of this mountain. So I did want to start working on that a little bit. And then here soon, I would like to start working on bringing this path back to the big pirate cavern that's going to be back there. But one step at a time, one day at a time, and all that. But hopefully I'll be able to pump in a bunch of hours into this again, because I have missed it a lot during the move, because I haven't had as much time to work on here as as I was putting in. So anyways, what we're going to be doing today, let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's get this going. So what we're going to work on first and foremost is I want to get into IC2 crops. Oh, by the way, I'm on the server right now with Kokyu, Purely Platonic, Is a Dwarf, Tyler, and Kokyu's back. Okay. At the moment, I mean, it's like, it's 2 a.m. my time. So it's actually probably the slowest time on the server. Like, we had like 9 people on, and they just logged off. And I was trying to get my pugs settled down, because they're still getting used to the new house, and they're like, they have to be right by my side the entire time, or they freak out. So I had to set them up pallets in my office right now. But anyways, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into what we're going to be doing today. Actually, it'd probably be easier to search just IC2. We're going to make ourselves some crop sticks. And as of right now, there's really only one crop that I'm aiming for. There are a lot of really nice crops with IC2, but I don't feel like we really need any at the moment other than just stick reed. So it's standard recipe: sticks, make stick reed, or bamboo, or river cane. Basically anything that classifies as a stick. Let's go ahead and get a few of these. We're going to need a bunch, so I'm going to go ahead and get 30. And then we're going to have to get a couple things. The first thing I need is sugarcane. And the second one is pumpkin. I don't think this has changed. This used to be about the best way that you could go for stick reed. Usually you get a lot of luck with it. Oh, you know what? I don't actually have pumpkins planted down here. Pumpkin seeds. There we go. I want like 2 of these. Would be good. There we go. Okay, so now that we've got our pumpkins and our sugarcane, I want to try breeding these together. And we're also going to have to get a crop analyzer. We'll get that in just a second. Let's go ahead and, for right now's purposes, let's go ahead and just plant this down. We'll do it here. We're going to go ahead and till some farmland here. And we'll go ahead and till this as well, because we are going to need it. And then we're going to take and put down our crop sticks there. And let's go ahead and plant, just so we don't start getting weeds. We're going to put pumpkins down right there. Pumpkins down right there. And then we're going to do sugarcane opposite it. There we go. And let me go ahead and, I'll tell you what, I'm just going to move this torch over to there. That should be good. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and get those growing. It's going to take a little while. Then once they're grown, we can use our crossbreeding sticks. Now, one thing I am going to do, just to speed this process up a little bit, is I'm going to grab like 4 pieces of fertilizer, and we're going to go ahead and use this on our crops. Now, it doesn't work like bone meal. It just makes it grow a little bit faster. It's not instant like bone meal is. But you have to be kind of careful, because you end up damaging your crops if you're not careful. But these aren't really important, so I'm not too worried about that. Okay, so while those are growing, let's go ahead and get ourselves a crop analyzer. And I'm hoping that we get lucky and get stick reeds pretty quick, but we'll see. Okay, so this is what we want. We need a electronic circuit, a couple insulated cables, some glass. Okay, let me get this stuff together real quick. Okay, we should have everything that we need for this. So there is our crop analyzer. Awesome. And we're going to need to charge this up, of course, so let's just dump it into there. And it's going to take a minute. It stores 100,000 EU. And it's like it's a power tier 2. So, I mean, it takes a little while to charge. It can't feed in full power, but that's fine. And honestly, I'm not terribly concerned about stats when it comes to stick reed, because just basic stick reeds is going to be more than enough, in truth. And actually, while that's running, another thing that we should go ahead and get is a crop harvester. Because we're not going to need this right this second, but we are going to need it before too long. So we might as well go ahead and get it crafted up. It's actually not expensive at all. And it's pretty much invaluable for this because it can handle the crop sticks, whereas, well, there are some other methods. Actually, you know what? I bet the harvester itself. I tell you what, I'm gonna try that because I'm almost thinking that the cyclic harvester could handle this because of the way that it harvests things. You can see I'm just eating like everything. Nom nom nom. We might actually not have to use the crop harvester. We're gonna try it without the crop harvester. Not a big deal if we use the crop harvester. I mean, it works like pretty much any kind of auto harvester. But, okay, these are growing. Good. Alright, let's take our crop analyzer and right-click. Let's see, crop size is 2 out of 3. You can see the nutrient storage, the water storage, the weed X storage, and its growth points. And they're going to steadily go up. You can see 29 out of 200 growth points. Once it reaches 200 growth points, it's going to go to the final stage. Then over here we have 2 out of 4 on the pumpkins at the moment. So we still got a minute before these get fully grown. So that's kind of what we're waiting for at the moment. Oh, but you know what? Yeah, I think I'm actually going to go with the crop harvester because I'm worried about, and I'm betting that the harvester from Cyclic is going to run into the same issue. Because, you know, with whenever we were doing the pumpkins, it was harvesting the stems, or the melons. It was harvesting the stems, so that's why we had to plant them on the outer section. And I have a feeling that if we put stick rate, even if it works, it's going to harvest it at stage, is it 3 or 4? Where it's grown, but it's not fully grown, and you can harvest sugarcane from it. And I bet you that harvester is going to harvest the sugarcane and not the resin, which is the final tier. So I think we might as well go ahead and go with the crop harvester. Plus, it's something different. We can use it, and it'll be fun. It'll be lots of fun. Okay. And it's actually not really expensive in the least. So, shears. Okay, they're standard. For some reason, I was thinking that they were... I was thinking that they were maybe plates for the shears. I don't know why, but... Anyways, there's our crop harvester. Easy peasy. And another thing that we're going to set up and get up and going this episode, because it's easy on-spot power, which is great for the crop harvester. It's actually going to be enough, I think, for the crop harvester, is I want to get into something nuclear-based. That is the Radioisotope Thermoelectric Generator. Now, later on, we're going to be making a bunch of these. We're going to be using these quite a bit. But for right now, let's see, I need a generator. Okay, let me get the furnace. I've got a bunch. Actually, I think I've got furnaces on me. Yeah, I've got 38. I've got a bunch. Whenever I go through villages, I stock up on furnaces, pistons, things like that. I don't worry about chests so much anymore, but I do get the treated wood if it's there. And we're also going to need these reactor chambers. These are basic machine casings with dense lead plates. 4 dense lead plates to do that. So let me get 36 lead real quick. By the way, the ore processing system working like a charm. I love it. You can see like iron, we have 40 stacks, gold 16 stacks, copper 35 stacks. I mean, pretty good amounts of all of this stuff, like uranium, for example. Tiny piles, almost 7 stacks. Uranium-238, 40 stacks of uranium-238. I mean, it's working great, and it's working perfect. Okay, we can get our reactor chambers. There's 2 of those. And then we're going to get our first radioisotope thermoelectric generator. There we go. And we'll be using those a bit more in the future. Like, a lot more. But right now, they're kind of expensive to actually get up and running, and you'll see why here in just a second. Once we get into reactors, they're not going to be too bad. Well, it's on a server. It'll run. So, I think right now we're just waiting on pumpkins, but it's 600 growth points to reach stage 4. So it is going to take just a second. Okay, the pumpkins are fully grown now. Or this one is. I think this one is just about to be. So we'll go ahead and pick back up. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our crop sticks. We're going to place these down. If you've ever done AgriCraft, it's pretty much the exact same thing. Except this was, I want to say the IC2 crops were pre-AgriCraft. But I could be wrong. I don't know. I can't remember which came first. I think IC2's crop breeding. But anyways, we're going to give this a bit. Now, there is a chance when you have these out, you know, whenever you have something with nothing planted on it, that's sugarcane. I'm fairly certain. Reed. That's just sugarcane. So that's not something that we actually want. So we're going to go ahead and just pull that up and drop down another crossbreeding stick. We're basically, what we're looking for right now is stickweed. I don't really care about anything else. There is some other nice crops, like you can grow like metals with this. Those not so important to me because I like mining. Plus we got vein miner, it's super quick, and so maybe one day, but I'm not too worried about it right this second. There's also, of course, redstone. There's there's a ton of different stuff that you can get. Like for example, if you take a look at the IC2 crops, right? All this different stuff that you can get. Like red wheat is what you get if you want redstone, but I mean there's all kinds of stuff here. And there's also flowers and just all kinds of things. All kinds. But really the only thing that I'm really after today is stickweed, because I just need rubber. Everything else, it's nice, red wheat, it's nice, but honestly there's red orchids, so but stickweed. Now, you can also automate rubber with Ender.io fairly easily. But we're trying to stick pretty close to IC2, And I will say, how I'm growing these right now, it's not the most ideal conditions, Ideally, you look for certain biomes, and you go to like 250 Y level, and, stuff like that. There's a lot of, like, optimal conditions. We're not doing optimal conditions. I just want to get stickweed up and going. I'm not concerned about if it grows super fast down here, as long as it's growing. It's on a server, and I'm going to do a little small farm plot for stickweed. It's going to be plenty of rubber and stuff. And honestly, once we get into like replication stuff, that's just going to make life even easier. Okay, it's actually the next day. This took a while. Of course, my playtime is a little bit more limited than normal at the moment. But this did take a while to get these finally. You can see I've actually got 3 little breeding areas. These are like 3 common designs. There's also one that does, it's a little bit, I think it's a 7x7. Yeah, 7x7 design. But these are 3 that I like to use. So we have like a 2x2 design here where you have your main crops on the corners and then you crossbreed on the other corners. And then there's one here. I did this one as kind of a light source. Basically, it's really similar to this one. I just like having the light in the middle. And then we have crops on each corner. And then, we covered this one before. And then over here, it's the same thing, but the middle's cut out. So you can breathe through the middle as well between these. But I was just trying some different things. Because I know in some cases, you get a lot of luck with just reed plus reed. And you breed them together and you get stickweed. In some cases, pumpkin and stickweed. Or pumpkin and reed, you get stickweed. And then in other cases, which is actually where I got lucky, you can see these reeds are a little bit different. Reeds plus a higher tier crop, because stickweeds are actually a tier 4 crop. Netherwort is a tier 5 crop. So there's a little bit of a bonus chance. I'll explain all that. There's a little bit of, I will say there's a little bit of science to IC2 breeding. I'm not going to get into all of that. I've done that in the past. I've talked about it. I'm not going to get into all the science behind it. But at the end of the day, it's really RNG based. It's all luck based. I mean, you can get, pretty much anything whenever you run crops through. So just a heads up. But if we throw these in here, you actually have to scan these 4 times to get all this information here. But you can see the reed is a tier 2 crop. You will have a little bit better luck breeding into tiers if you're using, higher tiers or similar tiers, that kind of thing. Discovered by just tells you who made it. Notch made it because sugarcane is a vanilla thing. You can see this is a descriptor. It's not actually, I know it's a reed seed and it says reed. Basically that is a descriptor. So if we take, for example, I did get some other things here. Dandelions and tulips. If we throw tulips in here, you can see it's a purple flower and tulip. Okay. Now, generally, you're going to have better luck. It actually gives you a little bit of an increased chance to breed something that shares descriptors. So, for example, stick reed, you're going to have a little bit better luck breeding it using reeds, okay? Because stick reeds are also classified as reed as one of their descriptors. And I want to say that pumpkin also shares a descriptor, and that's why generally it's better. We can actually check that really, really quick. Well, actually, I don't know that these are gonna. I didn't crossbreed. These are not crossbred, so I'm not gonna get back a bag of seeds from those. But I believe it shares a descriptor though, with maybe. I want to say it's like orange, yellow food, potatoes. But let's go ahead, and I'll talk about the stats here in just a second. But let's go ahead and grab our stickweed seed. So left click will break it out of there, and you'll get your seed bag. Now I didn't get any sticky resin because I broke it that way. This right here is Aurelia. This is actually one of the metals. But I've got to put an ore underneath it. So I'm going to have to... Aurelia, I think, is gold. Is what it is. And I'm going to have to put a gold ore block underneath that sand to get it to fully mature. Now, I think I can actually still get a seed bag, though, without it fully maturing, if I recall correctly, though. So it only needs gold underneath it to fully mature, not to get a seed bag. So I'm just going to let it grow for a little while, and then once it hits, like, crop size, I think it goes up to 4 before it needs gold. I'm going to let it get up to 4. It doesn't have to be fully grown to get a seed bag. It just has to be pretty close to it. Each plant, I think, is a little bit different, but I would like to get that, but it's planted on sand. So, because I was trying, like, sand, I was like, well, maybe I'd have a better chance. You know, I was messing with some different things. Like I said, it's been a while. It has taken a while to get this. But if we throw this in the crop analyzer, you can see it's stickweed. And we throw it in there again, you can see it's a tier 4, and who discovered it, which is basically the creator of it. Throw it in there again, you can see it's reed and resin. Okay, I was thinking it was orange for some reason. I don't know. So it's probably not going to share a descriptor with pumpkin. I don't know. I seem to remember that being really good, though, but maybe not. And then we throw it in again, and you can see we have a growth of 3, a gain of 1, and a resistance of 1. Now, growth is growth speed. How fast does it grow? Gain is how much produce you're going to get every time it's harvested. Resistance is for weeds. Like, how well does it resist weed infestation? Because whenever you have weeds, like, let's say I had a weed crop up like right here, it's pretty similar to agricraft in a lot of ways, aside from the way breeding and stuff works. If I had a weed here, it could breed into these, so resistance is going to help with it. However, resistance can also, all of the stats actually have negatives to them as well. Generally not a big concern until you get these numbers really high, because you can actually get these numbers up to, I want to say it's 31, though it's really not advisable to go that high. I don't generally like going that high, like 10. I like 10 on like growth and 10 on like gain, and it's good. Resistance I don't actually care too much about, because you're only going to get weeds if you have, you know, an empty crop stick. Like right now, there's no chance for this farm to get any weeds because I don't have any empty crop sticks or breeding crop sticks at the moment. So resistance, not too big of a deal, but resistance, of course, if you have high resistance, it's going to lower the chance of getting a seed bag. Gain, I can't remember what the negative on gain is, and growth, I know growth, it increases growth ticking, so it's more susceptible to weeds, and I want to say there's something else, but I remember there's negatives for all of them, but usually if you keep it like around 10, maybe 15, it's usually pretty good. So anyways, we got our stick reeds, and so the next thing I want to do is I actually want to start spreading these out a little bit and creating more stick reeds. So what we're going to do is, I don't know if I want to do it here or, yeah, let's do it over here. This has become kind of like our IC2 breeding area, and I'm actually probably going to keep it here, because the more I was messing with IC2 breeding, you know, I actually quite enjoy IC2 breeding in a lot of ways, because, like, there are certain things I don't like about it, because it's very RNG based, and that's kind of a bummer, I think. But at the same time, I like it more than Agricraft in a lot of ways, because of the fact that Agricraft is just way too OP. Like, you can have whatever crop you want in a matter of, you know, minutes. And it's really easy to go 10, 10, 10, you know. You just go to 10, 10, 10 by default. Like, you're playing with Agricraft, it's like, okay, I want 10, 10, 10 seeds of everything. Whereas IC2, it's not quite that way. It's more player-specific preference. I mean, ideally, you know, 10 on stats is good. By the way, stat growth is random, So if I spread these stick reeds, which we're about to start doing, if I spread these over, I might get something really high. You know, I might get, generally it's not going to jump a huge amount. So we had like a 411, so it might be, you know, it could be like a 200, or it could be a 633, or, you know, something like that. You know, it can kind of go whichever way. Generally, the higher stats you have around it, the better, you know, that you're going to get. But at the end of the day, it's also very random in the way that it works. But I think I will probably do a bit with the IC2 crops. I mean, I'm not going to go super crazy with them, but I will probably end up doing a bit with them. So, and honestly, I'm thinking about actually doing the pumpkin farming and the sugarcane farming with those as well. I have to test it because since I cut, I've been building while I've been waiting a little bit. And you can see over here, I've started setting up something. I did discover that the harvester, the cyclic harvester, does not harvest ender lilies. Also does not harvest sugarcane. So I am going to maybe do the farming of sugarcane with the IC2 crops. We'll see. And then over here, I have been working, well, I worked on the ceiling a little bit. I also went and gathered up hot spring water. And we have a little hot spring water river that's coming down through here. This is going to kind of connect over. There's going to be more hot spring water on the other side over here, kind of coming down a fountain fashion. And then it's going to go down. So, and hot spring water, you can find this in like the Alps type biomes. This isn't solid at the moment. You can see there's a lot of missing blocks here, but I will probably add a bit more water to this. I have to go manually gather it right now. So, but this stuff does give you regeneration. Let's see, how's our stick reed going? This stuff does grow decently fast, by the way. We're already up to 2 out of 4. You can see the growth point's only 100 to go to the next stage. Now you can actually, one thing to note about this, you can actually harvest it at a crop size of 3 out of 4. If you do that, you're going to get reeds instead of sticky resin. But if you wait till 4, growth stage of 4, you're going to get sticky resin, which that'll become not really an issue. We've got everything that we need to fix it, but that will become a point of note here in just a minute whenever we start actually automating the stick reeds. Okay, I've started breeding for stick reeds. You can see I've got the stick reed that we had, or for additional seeds. I've got the stick reed that we had here in the middle, and then around it I've just got reeds, because, I mean, it's a pretty good chance we're going to get stick reeds. And I just got a seed that has fully grown here. You can break them off at 3 out of 4. It's second to the last stage that you can break and still get seeds. And they can still crossbreed at 3 out of 4, or 5 out of 6, or, you know, whatever. Let's go ahead and just break these off, and we're going to get ourselves some stick reeds. Let's go ahead and scan these, see what they've got on them. 503, that's actually not terrible. The growth isn't bad. By the way, if you're getting into like actually breeding for stats, stick reeds are amazing for it because of the fact that they grow extremely fast. They do grow very, very quickly. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to take our stick reeds and drop them in there. And we're going to let those grow, and then we can do a crossbreeding sticks here that's just stick reed. So generally, unless we get, you know, something else, it's generally going to make stick reeds. And by the way, if you're dealing with weeds, I want to go ahead and mention this. There is a weed trowel that you can use to pull the weeds out. I know if I don't mention it, it'll get brought up in the comments. You can make that. I don't generally do it because I can just break the weeds, you know, the crop sticks. But you can make that if you want to just be able to break them quicker or whatever. So, and I think you can actually, in some cases, you can preserve your crop sticks because sometimes the weeds will grow, but the top crop sticks will still be there, and you only get back 1 if you break it. It's not a big deal, I don't think, but something worth noting. While I'm waiting for that, I have been setting up over here. I ran a conduit line over to here. So it comes up right there, and we've got some water here that keeps everything hydrated. And then I went ahead and planted our tulips and our dandelions. So those are growing. We're going to be using this area here in just a minute once I get some more stick reeds built up. So, anyways, I'm going to continue making more seeds, and I'm not so worried about the stats right this second. Honestly, the stats, not that important on a server, but I will probably do a little bit with stats. But right now I'm just trying to get additional seed bags. So I'll be back here in just a bit once I get more of those built up. Okay, it hasn't actually been all that long since the last cut. We've actually been getting really lucky on the stick reeds. And some of the stats on these are pretty nice. I actually have like a 6.5 1 in there, which, I mean, isn't too bad. Eventually, I may end up working up the stats. Right now, I mean, they're growing decently fast. I mean, I literally like just planted these and they're fully grown. So, and then I've also added, of course, I have the tulips and the dandelions there. Over here, these are just reeds with semi-decent stats. I may work up the stats on those. And then right here, these are just pumpkins. These are literally pumpkin seeds thrown down. I'll probably end up working up stats on pumpkins as well. To get these going a little bit faster. But I think this would be kind of a nice little area. Plus you can actually grow pumpkins and sugar canes and all that just in a one block space. So I'm thinking that we'll probably do a few of the seeds. I mean, especially like the flowers. And I may end up throwing some terrawort in here just for fun. It's also a really easy way to farm brown and red mushrooms with IC2. I'll probably end up throwing like a little variety down right in here. Let me check and see. Let me make sure there's no weeds or anything growing over here. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to take our crop harvester that we made earlier, and I want to set this thing down right here. And this thing will harvest in an 11 by 11 by 3 area, so one block above and below it, and 11 by 11 around it. Now, this isn't actually an 11 by 11. This is, 9 blocks this way, and then it's 7 blocks in this direction. It's a little bit smaller, but I actually quite like the layout for this. And then we'll have, of course, the stairs that come up right here, and the border right there, and then there's going to be some decorative stuff back in there. Let's see, how's this doing? 423, okay. I figure we might as well get free dandelions and tulips, and I'm keeping an eye on this because I don't want weeds coming up. That's just a reed. I'm not too worried about that. I'm gonna break it. I haven't done these other 3 as stick reeds yet. I wanted to get the farm up and going, and then I'll do that. Okay, so what we're gonna do before we plug up power into this, I guess I don't know if I want to make another crop analyzer. Actually, I think I'm low on rubber, aren't I? Let me check real quick. If I'm low on rubber, I'm just going to use this crop analyzer for right now. I've got 5. Okay, yeah, we're going to just use this crop analyzer for right now, and then I'll make another one later for my personal use. But we are going to need a crop analyzer for this, and I'll explain why that is in just a second. For right now, though, I'm actually going to stop breeding stick reeds and stuff. Oh, wait, what's this? Stick reed and stick reed. Okay, perfect. I'll let those grow for right now. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our crop analyzer and we're going to put it into this slot right here. What this does, if you don't put the crop analyzer in there, it will harvest crops at any point that they're harvestable. So in the case of our stick reeds, it's mainly going to affect these. I think there's not really anything else that comes to mind that's not modded crops, like added crops to IC2. There's nothing else that really comes to mind aside from stick reeds that you can harvest before it's fully matured. And if you recall, I mentioned that you can harvest it at stage 3 out of 4 and get just reeds. Basically, the crop analyzer is going to prevent that. It's going to say, well, you can't harvest this until the stick reed is 4 out of 4 growth. Then you can harvest it and you get sticky resin instead of sugarcane. So that should be good. And unless things have changed, the crop harvester uses 1 EU per tick, just constant, just because it's scanning blocks. And then anytime it harvests something, it uses 100 EU. If you have a crop analyzer in it, it bumps it up to 200 EU. But I think if we are just producing, for right now it's only going to be like 2 EU per tick. If it becomes an issue and then maybe down the road I may up that. But for right now 2 EU per tick is what I'm going to be pulling off on this. And I think it's going to be plenty. So we're going to take our Radioisotope Thermoelectric Generator. That name is a mouthful. And we're just going to put this thing down on the top of it. That'll be fine. And you can see there's 6 slots in here. And the way this thing produces power, it uses an Rtg based fuel. If you watch my Direwolf series, we actually use these quite a bit. We are going to be using them quite a bit in this pack as well, especially once we get our reactors up and going and all that fun stuff. But if I recall correctly, these do produce radiation, so that's why I'm throwing on the radiation suit. We're going to make some of these pellets of Rtg fuel, which require some dense iron. Oh yeah, I'm not really done with prepping for these. I forgot it takes that much iron. Now when it comes to making your Rtg fuel, the plutonium is the standard way. You know, we got a few of those tiny piles of plutonium. We don't have many. I think we have like maybe 6 or 7. We don't have a lot. But you can also use plutonium from extreme reactors, which can come from loot chests. I've actually got, I think, 7 pieces so far. Not a ton, but it's enough to get us started. Which I think is the main thing. So there's also these here if you want RF, but we don't want RF. I know these get mentioned all the time on the Discord and the comments. They exist. We'll get into them later. Just not something that we're getting into right now. Alright, so here we go. Our first pellets of Rtg Fuel. There's 1. And then I'm just waiting on 5 more dense iron plates. Okay, and there is 2 pellets of Rtg Fuel. Alright, so let's go over here. Man, it's so weird being this slow. It actually hasn't been that long since we made quantum legs, but at this point it already feels really slow. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to place these into our radioisotope thermoelectric generator. Now, whenever you place, say, 1 pellet of Rtg Fuel, it produces 1 EU per tick. 2 produces 2 EU per tick. 3 produces 4. 4 of them produces 8. Then you have 16 and then 32 at max. At max, it's 32 EU per tick. It is a tier 1 power, and so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and drop that in there, drop that in there. And it's going to start producing some power. You can see this is steadily building up. It's not a lot, but you can see, I mean, it should be enough to run this. I mean, you can see it just ate through. It's literally harvesting up everything at the moment. And you can see we got some purple dye, some sugarcane, some sticky resin. It should have harvested dandelions, which should produce yellow dye, but it didn't. It may be a bug or a chance thing or something. I don't know. Hopefully we'll see that stuff coming in before too long. But anyways, we got some sticky resin. Alright, so sugar canes, purple dye, sticky resin. Let's go ahead and grab this, grab that. And actually I can switch over my armor again. Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to need more than 2 pellets of Rtg Fuel. And I'm doing 2 because, let me see. Let me throw this back on. I think if I was only using 1, it wouldn't actually be producing much power. It is still producing power. Maybe, let's see. Did they remove that? Yeah, that's actually producing enough power to run that. Okay, I was thinking it consumed 1 EU per tick. So either the RTGs are buffed, or maybe it no longer consumes 1 EU per tick. Scanning. Maybe it only uses EU whenever it harvests. So in that case, I'm not going to use more than I have to. I'm just going to take this Rtg Fuel and put it away, and we can use it later. Okay, so our purple dye and our sticky resin. I actually already have sugarcane slotted because I was trying to set up that farm. And then I was like, okay, well, this harvester doesn't work. And so I switched off of it. But let's go ahead. I don't have void upgrades in this just yet. But we'll go ahead and drop in, you know, our purple dye and our sticky resin. Actually, I'm going to put sticky resin right here. So that that's linked up. And then we're going to go ahead and just tell this to extract. So all we really need to do. Now I am going to have to put void upgrades and storage upgrades in this before I log off. But I can do that in a minute. So extract is always active. And if we take a look at the crop harvester, there we go. It pulled out everything. Okay, so that's automated. And the crop analyzer, it should just be getting its power from this. It's not actually going to consume any power. So we should be golden now. And these are going to get grown here in just a second. I actually kind of want to watch it. Okay, so there's some sticky resin on that one. We give it just a second. Of course, it scans through the plots available and everything. And I mean, you could see the sticky resin really doesn't take very long for it to grow. There we go. It just did it. And you can see it goes back down to, I think that's stage 2. It doesn't go all the way back down to stage 1. And that's the case with a lot of the IC2 crops. Which results in them, whenever they have like good stats on them, they're pretty much, it's better than 10-10-10 crops from Agricraft. You know, I mean, they grow pretty fast. Yeah, there we go. We got 4 sticky resin. So the stuff is coming in here just fine. There's some sugarcane. Of course, some of that I harvested. So I will have to keep an eye on this because eventually it's probably going to get some yellow dye and some pumpkins, neither of which are slotted at the moment. But it's not a big deal as long as I keep an eye on that and get those slotted. Those, without stat increases, I mean, they're just kind of like a passive gain on those items. Okay, so then what I want to do is I want to take some of this sticky resin, and we're going to set up an auto extractor. that's going to be extracting rubber from the sticky resin. Of course, you could also smelt it if you just wanted to get like 1-for-1, but we might as well run it through an extractor. It's a little bit better. And I'm probably going to connect this up just right over here on this wall. So we have this semi-fluid generator that's always backed up on power and biogas. We could just attach... oh, that's insulated copper cable. I was like, what's that texture going on right there? Alright, so we're going to put down our extractor right there. And it's going to get power from the semi-fluid generator. And then I've got a few more cables on me. It should be enough. And I'm also going to need to make a filter just really, really quick. And then all we need to do is we need to attach our conduit line over to that. And we'll just bring it over. And then we're going to say that you can insert, and you're going to have a filter, and we're going to put sticky resin into there. And then we say that you can insert, and we should be getting some sticky resin here in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and toss this one in there to get it running. Now, I can throw some overclockers in here. I probably won't. This thing only uses like 1 EU per tick without any overclockers. So, I may just leave it as is. There we go. There's some sticky resin coming in. And you can see we've already got 9 from this. And there's 3 rubber. So let's go ahead and grab this. And we're going to say that you can also extract, always active. And then we just need to head downstairs and add rubber to the drawers. And then we'll be able to keep rubber on hand. And as far as where I want to slot this, I want it in something that's not a void. This one only having 8 stacks. I don't know if I want it in there or... Yeah, we'll just put rubber in here. So we'll have 8 stacks. I could upgrade this. I might upgrade this. It doesn't really hurt if we have more fish trap bait because everything's pretty much backed up on that. But there we go. We now have 9 rubber and it's going to keep going up. And so that is automatic rubber as well as sugar canes and pumpkins and yellow dye and purple dye and additional things as we add them into it. And those stick reeds grow so fast, and you know, then you get sticky resin, and you get 3 rubber per sticky resin, so it ends up resulting in a lot of materials coming in. In truth, we will probably be setting really good. By next episode, we'll probably be setting really good on all this stuff. So I need to scan these. I need to make another crop analyzer. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button. And go ahead and subscribe if you're not already. Stay updated with when new videos come out. Also, I want to make note. I know I made note of this in Vintage Story, and I forgot to mention in the last episode. During the move, I know I didn't keep up on comments all that great. I was still reading them, but I didn't really have a lot of time to respond to every comment. I usually try to stay on top of that. I was just so busy, you know, I just didn't have much time. But I was still reading the comments, and I do appreciate it. And I appreciate all the support, because a lot of you guys were like, you know, take your time with the move and everything. Of course, I wanted to get back into... I'm having so much fun with our Minecraft series, Adventure Story and everything. I was ready to get back into it, right? So we'll start easing back into that as things start... settling down here and everything. We start getting done with the transition and all that fun stuff. So also, this video was meant to be for yesterday as far as the time it comes out, but it took so long to get my stick reeds up and going. So anyways, next episode we will probably be doing ice and fire, or probably a bit of dragon breeding and other creature breeding. I've got a bit of building to do between episodes, but we'll see where we get to and everything. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope to see you guys next time. Until then, as always, do take care. Stay safe. I'll see you guys next time.